everyone, welcome to my new video. Today I'm going to be painting one of my watercolor painting kits. This is the Nature Goddesses set. This set comes with 4 pre-drawn illustrations of nature goddesses and a paper palette with 7 colors. Everything's at the back what the kit includes. It also got some tips, so you can read through these or you can just follow my painting tutorial today. Now let's go ahead and open the box. Now I chose to not put any branding on the box. As you can see, nothing in the front, nothing in the back, just so that you can re-gift it if you need to. And inside here we've got a brush number 4 with a nice point. Now let's open our sheets. Here we've got our paper palette. It's got 6 colors and 1 metallic color as well. We've got a little strip of paper where you can try out your colors before you actually start painting. So this is made with the same paper as the illustrations, so it'll feel exactly the same. Now you've got 4 illustrations. This one is Samudra here. She's the goddess of the sea. Next we have Zephyr for the clouds, air and sky. We have Elf for forests and trees. And Jade for mountains, crystals and all the shiny things. If you notice, I've left a little white edge on all of the illustrations, see? On all 4 edges. So this is where you're going to put your masking tape, just so you can stick your paper down onto your table and it doesn't warp when you're painting. So I'm either going to paint Samudra today, or maybe I'll do Jade. What do you guys think? I think I'll do Samudra. So let's set up. Now keep your strip handy and get your colors ready and your paintbrush. I'm just going to tape down my sheet onto my table. This is just regular masking tape. Make sure to tape it down on all 4 sides, especially if you're going to be painting the background. Now the biggest challenge of this paint and sheet is actually getting the skin tone right. We've got all the colors we need to create multiple skin tones on this palette. I'm going to start with magenta. I'm just swatching a little on the side. Now I also do have Rusty Wagon, which is a dark, beautiful brown, but we're not going to do it that way. I'm going to show you how you can mix a few skin tones together. So I'm just mixing a little bit of the marigold, which is our primary yellow, into the magenta. And then I'm going to add a tiny bit of Monday Blues. Mixing the 3 primary colors should give you a shade of brown. So you just have to adjust how much you add. The first time I did add the Monday Blues, it got a little too dark. So I readjusted it with more magenta and more marigold. Now this color I'm getting here is really, really close to the skin tone I want to try. So I'm going to test it on the side. And trust me, a little goes a long way. Make sure you load up your brush with loads of color and that it's nice and wet so you can spread it all over the surface. quite happy with this color. You can always adjust if you want to go lighter or darker by adding some more water or adjusting your primary colors in the mix. Don't forget to paint the neck. Alright, so now we're going to leave this to dry, and I'm going to paint some yellow bits. Now before I get started on the hair, I'm going to make sure that my face is completely dry, because if it's wet and I paint somewhere really close to it, there's a chance that color will bleed into the face. So since my face is quite dry, I'm going to take Lush and Monday Blues. So I'm looking for a nice teal, turquoisey color. I want to paint her hair with different shades of blue and green, so it looks like the ocean. I'm going to add some dark blue to this, and because the first layer of blue is still wet, it's going to blend beautifully with it. So you can play around, you can add more greens into the same streak of hair, just as long as your base layer is still a little wet. All these colors are going to blend really nicely with one another. I'm going to leave this to dry now, and as you can see, the face is dried, but I find it a little too pale. So I just want to add another layer of that same brown that I did before. But as you can see, I'm struggling a tiny bit to get the same color again. This is where it helps to really have a palette, so you have more of the color ready for you and it doesn't dry out on your paper palette. But we'll get there, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Now I put this on and I realize it's a tiny bit darker than I thought, but I'll just blend it out with a little water. Now I've just finished the face, and while it's wet, I'm going to add a tiny bit of pink onto her cheeks. So just gently drop a single drop and the water should spread out the color for you. I'm going to now finish a few more streaks in her hair. So just mix a bunch of blues, greens, you can even try it out with the yellow and see what it looks like. While I wait for those to dry, I'm going to start working on the two manta rays at the bottom of the painting. I've mixed Rusty Wagon with Monday Blues to create a really nice shadowy dark blue. And again, while it's wet, I'm just going to add a little darker shade of the same color to give it a little bit of shadow. Now I'm going to slowly continue a few more streaks on her hair. I've created that purple in her hair by mixing magenta and Monday blues. And again, I'm going to make sure everything is dry before I paint right next to it. Now everything I've painted so far, I've mixed it onto my paper palette and just painted it directly. I'm going to now show you what it's like to use a palette, because you end up making so much paint and you never run out of it. So if you're someone who creates paint and finds that you run out of it halfway, get yourself a palette. It makes it so much more easier. And it's always better to have more paint than you need, because you can always put a different color into it, turn it into a different shade, and use it for another streak of hair. Now while I was painting this, I dropped a little bit of water onto my sheet, and I'm just going to use a dry brush to lift it up, wipe it down, clean my brush, wipe it again, and use it like a mop. You need to use a damp brush to lift off your color when you've made a spill. Clean it again and use a damp brush again. This is how you get rid of spots. Now you can't get rid of all of it. If it's a very dark spot, you may not be able to get rid of it entirely, but this is one way to do it. I also like to take a little bit of cotton paper just to lift off anything else I've got on there. There you have it. As good as gone, I think. To start using champagne, which is our metallic color, I'm going to add a few drops of water just to get it activated a little bit. We'll leave it there a few seconds. And I'm going to start painting her features. So again, I'm going to create a skin tone using magenta, marigold, and Monday blues. And this time I want it slightly darker than the previous color. I think that's good enough. Now you're going to use the tip of your brush and really slowly hold your brush like a pencil, as close to the tip as possible. This will help you keep your brush steady and straight. Use the same color for shadows. This is going to give your piece a more three-dimensional look. Alright, we're gonna get started on our champagne now. This gold is nice and wet and ready. You see how thick it is? It's like a paste. So this is the consistency you want it. Load it up on your paintbrush and start painting by putting down thick layers of paint. Depending on how you like it, you might need an extra layer if you want it super shiny. And that's done. Please make sure you take out the tape only once your painting is fully dry. Look how beautiful it looks. Now, if you still have your box on you, you can actually use the base of the box as a frame. So all you gotta do is put some tape on the inside, slide your painting, secure it, and there you go. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you have any more questions, if you'd like any more tips, or if you want to know how to paint some other watercolor kits that I have, please comment below and let me know, and I'll try and make more tutorials for you. Happy painting! See you guys!